Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into Stifel Financial Corp. And we've got a stack of their 10Ks right here, ready to go.
Yeah, these filings are really the key to understanding a company.
For sure. They can be a little intimidating, though.
Yeah,
All those numbers and jargon.
definitely.
Right.
But that's where we come in. We're going to break it all down, make it clear and insightful.
Exactly. So Stifel Financial Corp., over 130 years in the business. Started small, now they're this massive financial player.
It's pretty impressive when you think about it, like a tiny sapling growing into this huge, sprawling tree.
And just like a tree, Stifel's got these different branches to it, different parts of the business.
Right. Their 10Ks lay out three main segments: private client services, institutional services, and investment banking.
Three-legged stool. Each one supports the whole business.
Exactly. Gives them stability and room to grow.
And they've been doing some growing lately. Two acquisitions caught my eye: Moreland Partners and B&F Capital Markets.
Ah, yes. You've been doing your homework.
We know me, Ann. Got to stay informed. But seriously, what's the story there? Why those companies?
Well, it's all about strategy, Moreland. They're all about tech-focused mergers and acquisitions.
So Stifel's making a play for the tech world. Makes sense. It's booming.
Exactly. And B&F Capital Markets, they specialize in banking software, which is more important than ever these days.
Right. Every bank needs cutting-edge tech. So Stifel's positioning themselves to be the go-to for that.
Precisely. It's a smart move, shows they're thinking long-term. Not just about today's profits, but future growth.
I like it. Proactive, strategic. So how's this all translate into actual money? Where's the revenue coming from?
Let's take a look at their 2023 10K. One thing that jumps out is commissions and floor brokerage fees.
Those little fees they tack onto trades, didn't realize they added up too much.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It's all about volume. Millions of transactions. Those tiny fees turn into millions of dollars for Stifel.
Wow. It's like finding hidden treasure in your couch cushions.
Yeah.
Every penny counts.
Exactly. But it's not just about trading fees. They're also making bank on interest from loans and credit facilities.
Right. That's the whole banking side of things.
Yeah,
But that can be a bit unpredictable, right? Interest rates go up and down.
absolutely. That's the nature of the market. And it does expose them to a certain level of volatility, which investors always keep a close eye on.
Of course. Got to manage that risk. Speaking of which, what are some of the other challenges Stifel's facing? What's keeping their execs up at night? Yeah, I bet. It's like a horror movie for a CEO, risk factors looming in the shadows.
Right. But you know what I find interesting? They're not shying away from it. They lay it all out in their 10K.
That's true. They're pretty upfront about the potential pitfalls.
They have to be. Transparency is key, and it shows they're taking those risks seriously.
So let's dig into those risk factors. What's the biggest baddie lurking out there?
Well, in this day and age, it's got to be cybersecurity. I mean, Stifel's got so much sensitive data, client infiltrating activity. It's a goldmine for hackers.
Oh, absolutely. One data breach could be disastrous. Reputation shot to hell.
Yes,
Millions lost.
exactly. And the legal ramifications, don't even get me started.
Okay. We get it. Cybersecurity is huge. What else is keeping those execs awake at night?
How about a constantly changing regulatory landscape? It's like trying to run a marathon on a moving train.
Ouch. That's a good analogy. Always playing catch up.
Right, new rules, new compliance requirements. It's a never-ending process. And expensive, too.
Yeah. Got to stay ahead of the curve or risk getting trampled. Speaking of competition, Stifel's not exactly the only fish in the sea, are they?
Nope. They're up against some giants. Major financial institutions with deeper pockets and global reach.
David versus Goliath situation. So how do they compete? What's their edge?
Well, they focus on personalized service, building strong client relationships, really understanding their needs.
A more tailored approach, like a bespoke suit versus something off the rack.
Exactly. And they've got deep expertise in certain areas, like their push into tech M&A with the Moreland acquisition. That gives them an edge.
Smart, focus on your strengths.
Yeah.
But even with all that,
Yeah.
they're always curveballs, right?
Always. And one that caught my eye was the Carignan Water Authority lawsuit. That one's a bit of a nail-biter.
Oh, yeah. That whole thing with the bond underwriting for the Flint, Michigan water pipeline didn't end well.
Right, allegations of negligence, it's a mess. And a reminder that even with the best intentions, things can go wrong.
Absolutely. High stakes, big impact.
Yeah.
So how's Stifel dealing with all this risk? They must have some strategies in place.
Oh, they do. And they lay them out in their 10K cybersecurity, for one. They've got a whole written information security program, WISP for short.
Catchy. So they're not messing around. What about that regulatory maze? How do they keep up?
Well, they've got a dedicated team of compliance pros, lawyers, specialists, always monitoring the latest changes.
Like a crack team of legal ninjas. Ready to strike at a moment's notice.
Pretty much. And on the competitive front, they're really pushing their strengths, personalized service expertise in key areas, and they're not afraid to adapt.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
That's key in any business, especially one as fast-paced as finance. But let's be honest, there's one massive change looming over the entire industry. That transition away from LIBOR. That's got to be a headache.
Oh, it's a major headache, LIBOR. The London Interbank Offered Rate, it's been the benchmark interest rate for decades, used in countless financial instruments.
Right, mortgages, derivatives, the whole shebang.
Exactly. But it's being phased out. Concerns about manipulation, lack of transparency. The regulators decided it's time for something new.
Makes sense. So what's replacing LIBOR? And more importantly, what does it mean for Stifel?
Well, in the U.S., it's mainly SOFR, the Secured Overnight Financing Rate.
SOFR. Okay.
Yeah.
Catchy. But what is it exactly? And how does this whole switcheroo impact a company like Stifel?
Well, SOFR, it stands for the Secured Overnight Financing Rate. It's supposed to be a more reliable benchmark based on actual overnight lending rates.
Sounds complicated.
It is. It's a huge undertaking for everyone involved, Stifel included. They've got tons of LIBOR-based contracts, loans, derivatives, all that stuff.
So they have to rewrite the rule book while the game's still going.
Pretty much. Updating systems, renegotiating contracts, reevaluating their risk models.
Wow, that's intense. It really shows how even a small change in the financial world can have massive ripple effects.
Absolutely. Everything's connected, and it highlights the importance of adaptability, being able to adjust to these seismic shifts.
Which brings us back to Stifel.
Yeah,
They seem to be doing a good job of staying ahead of the curve.
I'd say so. They're embracing new technologies, expanding into growth areas, and they're not afraid to take calculated risks.
Calculated being the key word there. They're definitely not reckless.
Exactly. They're playing the long game, building a strong foundation for sustainable growth. And that's what's impressed me most looking at their 10Ks.
Me too. They're not just chasing quick profits. They're thinking about the future, about building a lasting legacy.
Exactly. And that's something investors always look for, a company with a clear vision and a solid plan to get there.
So there you have it, Stifel Financial Corp. From humble beginnings to a major player in the financial world.
And we got it all from their 10Ks. Those filings, they're like a company's diary, full of insights and revelations.
For sure. They can be a bit daunting at first glance, but once you crack the code, it's amazing what you can learn.
Absolutely. And that's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive, equipping you with the knowledge and tools to make informed decisions.
Exactly. So next time you're thinking about investing or just curious about a company, don't be afraid to dive into those 10Ks yourself.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
That's right. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you on the next Deep Dive.